Hey guys, let's make some enchiladas. This is one of the easiest and tastiest meals you can make after a long day of work. It only takes 1 hour to prep everything and your family would love it. So I like to add a can of diced tomatoes with chilies. It just gives the meat so much flavor. Make sure to break up the meat because you don't want chunks of meat in your enchiladas. That's very important. And also to remove all the excess fat out of your meat before adding the seasoning. So I like to add a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of salt. The reason I don't use measuring spoons is because I eye everything and it always turns out perfect. I have been cooking for a long time, so that is the reason why I do that. But if you feel comfortable using a measuring spoon, then go for it. So this is just my personal preference, but I like to add a pack of taco seasoning to my meat. It makes the enchiladas taste 10 times better than it usually is. After mixing in the taco seasoning, I add a cup of water to my meat so I can let it simmer for an hour. I shake it up a little just to make sure that it is not stuck on the end of the pot. And I leave it to simmer for 1 hour. So while my meat is cooking, I like to prep everything ahead of time. I add half a can of enchilada sauce to the bottom of the pan so that the enchiladas don't stick to the end of the pan. So now that my meat is done, I start to prep my enchiladas. I take my corn tortillas and I flip them on both sides to get the enchilada sauce on both of the ends of the tortilla. I find it easier to use a cutting board to roll up the tortillas just because you have better control of how your tortillas come out. First, I added my meat in the middle and then I add my cheese on top of it. And then I roll it up. It doesn't matter how your corn tortillas come out as long as they are rolled up tightly. And then I will continue the process until the whole pan is filled. So you add your meat and then you add your cheese. Make sure to put a lot of meat in the middle. It's important. And then you put your cheese and then you roll it up again. See how the cutting board is so much easier? Sometimes corn tortillas are very soft that they break off, but that's okay. Last but not least, you add all the remainder of your enchilada sauce. So I accidentally flipped my camera. Well, anyways, now you add all your cheese on the top of your enchiladas. Make sure it's all covered with cheese because that's the best part of the enchiladas. If you want a fresher taste, you can get fresh cheeses, but I usually use the frozen cheeses because it's much easier. So then you bake it for 30 minutes until the cheese is melted, and there you go. You got yourself a meal. Pair it with a salad or even soup. It will be perfect. Enjoy!